What is up, everybody? Good evening back here on the Sports Arena. It's Wednesday night. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend and holiday, obviously honoring the veterans, the troops, people who have sacrificed their lives for our country. We are back here on a Wednesday night. Got a lot to get to before we get started, though. Definitely want to send our thoughts and prayers to Marion Barber and his family. The Cowboys and Bears former running back was passed away, 38 years old. Details haven't been released why it broke earlier today, so we definitely send our thoughts and prayers to the Barber family as, again, going through a very tough time. So very sad to see. Had a lot of great years in Dallas and, again, finished his career in Chicago. But for me, definitely will always be a Cowboy, especially because Eric loves it when he beat up on those Eagles. But may he rest in peace. And, again, prayers to his family in this tough time. But we're going to get started tonight. Got to get the crew in here. Got a lot of topics to get to. A little NBA playoffs, NHL. We'll get Megan's thought on the $1 billion deal that I think she should have been a part of because she's worth $1 billion. So let's get the crew in here. The Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price, John Shear. Oh, man, of course. I knew it. The one night Eric says you want to host. I know why Eric did this because John's wearing something that makes you want to throw up, Megan. But I can just look at Megan in her stylish clothes. Anyway, what's up? How was your guys' Memorial Day weekend?
I had a fabulous weekend. I actually got to travel over the weekend, so had a great time. Got to see an air show and a nautical show there on Miami Beach, and that was so awesome.
Oh, air shows are Before you go, John, air shows are freaking money. I got to go up in a F-16 years ago. My grandpa had I can't even say what he had to do to get it all done. He was in the Army, but it was awesome. What about you, John? How's your Memorial Day?
Great. I mean, I got to go camping with my wife and kids and, got to take them real camping, not that, camping where
there's nothing wrong with
camper.
There's nothing wrong with glamping.
That's not camping. You can stay home if you want to watch TV.
Before we get to the topics, though, let me ask you this, John, because I'm cool with camping, but camping to me, being a left coaster, is like Vegas. You can do it for 3 days, but if you do it for 4, you're done.
It's
you're
too much.
Especially, now I'm not saying work and doing the NFL draft. I'm saying to go to Vegas. Camping after 3 days, I'm sorry, man. I want somebody that's got a shower. I don't mind getting dirty being out and camping, John, but after 3 days, I want a shower, man.
Oh, I mean, there's showers at campgrounds, of course, but I mean, camping is not watching TV and playing video games and technology and all that crap.
Okay, no. Well, we agree on that. You're right. We totally agree on that.
That's my version of camping. You put up the tent. It sucks having to put it up, but it's part of the gig.
No, absolutely.
But that's all the way. That's all camping. You sit around the campfire and just hang out and talk. That's camping.
Oh yeah, no.
That was my weekend.
About ditching most technology.
Yeah. I had no service, so I just was enjoying nature.
And it's probably a good thing you didn't, because being a Dolphins fan, nobody wants your service. But let's jump into it. We're gonna get into it. Like I said, we're gonna start. The NBA Finals are here. Miss Megan Price, and everybody's talking about all these crazy things. I saw a thing today, and I want to say, because here we give credit where we see it. Which backcourt? I think it was on. I don't know if it was on SportsCenter or PTI or one of the sports shows I was flipping through. But which backcourt would you rather have, like Tatum and Brown or Steph and Clay? All these crazy questions. But Megan, let's get it rocking with the NBA Finals. Game 1 tomorrow night. The Celtics. Yes, John, I'm not even going to pick on you because it was a hell of a series, and Jimmy Butler balled out. He's still a diva, but he balled out. But no, you look at the series. I mean, Golden State, again, over 100 games experience, the Celtics with none in the finals, which to me I never cared about it, but they all know how to play basketball. But when you look at this series, I mean, A, are you excited for it? And B, what are some of the things you're expecting to see from these teams?
I'm really excited for this series. I feel like it's going to be a better matchup than what Miami would have given Golden State. I feel like Miami, it probably would have been a 5-game series. I feel like this one can possibly go the distance. I think it can go all the way to 7 games. I'm going to go ahead and take Golden State. And I know that sounds like the obvious choice. I do want to give credit to the Boston Celtics because I didn't give them much credit all season long. In fact, I bet against them every single possible chance that I had. And they just proved me wrong every single step along the way. So I definitely want to give them their credit. But I feel like there's something special going on with Golden State. It feels like I don't know if I necessarily want to say swan song, but I want to say maybe a swan song for their original core intact as it is. I feel like this might possibly be the last of that. So we might see Draymond move around next year. We might see some movement next year. Do I think that they're gonna move Clay around? No. So definitely think that if there's a piece that's gonna move around, I think it's gonna be Draymond Green. But let's see. Depending on how this series goes, I think this is gonna be. I think this is going to be their fourth championship. I think that Steph is going to end up being the MVP. And I know these are such obvious choices because I think there's like 100-1 odds on Steph being the MVP. But it's the one accolade that he doesn't have. He's the first recipient of the Western Conference MVP. And I think he's going to go ahead and throw the finals MVP on there as well.
Man, the Queen of Hoops dropping the hammer. All right, John. So she went roundabout. What are some of the matchups, John, I know we're obviously talking about what Marcus Smart can do. Klay Thompson, a two-way player. She mentioned Draymond Green, but what are some of the key matchups that you feel that we as fans, media and fans, but need to look out for because could definitely impact this series?
Yeah, I mean, the 3-point shooting for the Celtics that's how they live and die. And so it'll be up to Golden State to play defense. I know that we all know that they can score, but defensively, can they match up with what the Celtics do defensively? That's what I know. That doesn't give you one specific player, but the Celtics really like to shoot the 3-ball and play defense. Golden State likes to play 3-ball, but they don't play as much defense, at least in my opinion. So that'll be big for me. That'll be key in whether Golden State can keep up and play defense. We'll see. I mean, Steph Curry's like a pretty decent defender, but not a great defender, and the Celtics pride themselves on defense. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But
all right, and then I don't know, man. I like. Again, and I've said it. I mean, yes, I was on my Suns, and rightfully so, all season, but in the second half. But I mean, from January, 1st basically on, the Celtics were the team in the East to beat. So I agree with both you guys are saying. I can see the points you're making. There's interesting matchups. My thing is how is our Poole and Wiggins going to perform compared to, say, Smart and Williams? Because those are guys, and defensively too. I mean, you have a guy like Kuminga also, like that's long defensively. So they're both, they're pretty mirror images of each other. And I mean, to what Megan was saying, if Miami got there, obviously, I think they would have put up a fight. I think this is the best matchup, though. But I'm really looking to see what Wiggins does because he kind of had and again, maybe of no fault of his own, just where he was kind of a tumultuous start to his career. And now he's in Golden State flourishing. So I kind of, it's going to be very interesting to me. I think if Wiggins has a big series, and John, perfectly mentioned, you're talking about the Celtics defense. They have prided themselves on that. And real quick, I said in the beginning, I could care less. I get it. You have to get to the finals. And yeah, you're the only two teams playing. The lights are brighter. But do you two guys subscribe to the fact, like my theory of thinking is that I don't care if it's their first finals. It's not like they forgot how to play basketball.
I definitely will say that I think that they probably appreciate the situation a little differently than what Golden State does. Like I was talking about, that Golden State, it might possibly be the last one for their core as is. Whereas Boston's taking it in. They were talking about how Jason Tatum kept looking at the finals logo and that it just seemed like he was appreciative of being there. They may take that and ride with that. So I'm not knocking them out of the situation at all. And I just think that it's two different types of point of views. And defensively, to kind of rebuttal John, I think that Draymond Green can guard anybody on that court, literally anybody. And I do think Steph can play defense. Do I think it's his best? Obviously, it's not his best accolade, but I think he can play defense. Klay's not going to be the same defender that he was pre-injury, but I think that we're going to see some sparks here because we're going to see Smart on Steph or Tatum, and then we're going to see Brown on whichever one that the other one's not guarding. So I think that that's going to leave Klay and maybe Poole out there to be have a couple of huge games. And so those are the two players that I'm probably going to look at to be not necessarily MVP of the finals, but I think they're going to have some breakout games.
And what about you, John?
Yeah, Mike, you had mentioned about how this is the best matchup, best series. I don't think so. I think Miami Golden State would have been a lot more entertaining, at least from a fan's perspective. I think that would have been a lot more riveting. I just don't think that this series, I don't think the Celtics match up with what Golden State, how fast Golden State likes to to go. And if you turn the ball over as much as the Celtics did against Golden State, I think the Celtics get blown out of the water. And I don't think this is a good matchup for the Celtics. So I think you're wrong, Mike, when it comes to this is the best matchup. I think Miami and the Golden
Well,
State would have been riveting and extremely entertaining because
you
there's
know
more
what?
personality with Miami. The
Oh,
Celtics don't have as much
please.
personality.
Oh,
There's not as
oh
much
my goodness.
drama.
This is
I think with Miami, there's
a
more
whole new moment for you,
drama.
John. No, look,
There's more substance when
okay,
it
but the
comes
Celtics are
to.
still better defensively than Miami. And with the injuries Miami had, I'm not saying Jimmy Butler wasn't balling out, but look, Bam would have had to step way up. I just think Golden State matchup wise, I think the Celtics with getting guys back that they've gotten back. All I'm saying is, look, I think it would have been a good series. Hey, I didn't say Megan said she thought, and I do. I think this is a better matchup, but I will say,
I do think it's a better matchup. I
right,
think
but I
that
will
the
say,
team that could go 7 games is the team that did go 7 games. So that's what I believe in here as
right.
far as the longevity of this series. I think that we haven't seen a lot of 7 game series, but we've seen 2 this playoffs. So I think that, and Boston being one of them. So I think that they're going to put up a big fight. But I just don't think I think Miami was banged up. It's not that they didn't have that depth there, but I did not see the spark out of Kyle Lowry this season that I would have hoped to have seen out of him. But it's somewhat what I expected to see out of him. So I know him and Jimmy are good friends, and I'm a huge Jimmy Butler fan. Like, I'm a huge Jimmy Butler fan. Would have loved to have seen him in this position again, just so he could say, like, hey, the bubble finals was not a fluke. We're really that team. Like, we really deserve to be here. I would love
No, Megan,
Anybody that
listen,
knows basketball knows that I mean, that wasn't
right,
a fluke, right?
right.
Like,
No, I agree. I don't
yeah,
think it's a fluke.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Megan. I just like to pick on John, and I always stand by this. And John can say no all he wants. Jimmy Butler, again, the way he left Philly, and again, maybe he wasn't happy with Ben Simmons, but then the way he acted in Minnesota. Look, he is a phenomenal player. He's still a diva. But we're going to move on. We got a lot of the finals to get to. Our
But did
next
he
thing.
lie though? Mike, did he lie? Where did he lie?
I'm not saying he lied. I'm just saying the way he got out of there, and the way.
But this is also the first team he's ever been on where he's actually the guy like this. You know what I mean? Like, he's never been the guy like he is.
Right,
in Miami,
100%.
where everything is on him.
But
He's
he
never
also
been
got
that
to
guy.
develop under right when he wasn't the guy. He was young, and Derrick Rose was blowing up. No matter what you think of Derrick Rose now, like, he wasn't going to be the guy above Derrick Rose.
He wasn't going to be the guy in Philly. Like,
well, but he could have been the guy if Ben Simmons left. You look, the way Jimmy Butler plays, Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid, and you have a maxi around him. Just saying. But anyway, we're gonna put a pin in this one because, again, the final game one's tomorrow night. But we're gonna jump because I know, John, you're sad too. And again, I you know how much I hate the team that's playing tonight. One of the teams that's playing tonight in the Rangers. Despise them.
Yeah, you're a Devils fan. I know
that. Being said, the fact that I thought look, if Carolina would have got there, I would have been stoked for you. So I never really pick on Carolina. I just like to tease you. That being said, though, let's hit last night's game first, though. I mean, insane, Megan. We've been talking. You and I have been going back and forth. I know we haven't talked a ton of hockey on the show, but we've been going back and forth all year about the Stanley Cup playoffs or the Stanley Cup season. But for 14 goals. Now, I would expect that, in the second round. I mean, Calgary, and again, it's not that it's bad goaltending, but there's so much more traffic in front of that. But you look at an 8-6 win for the Avalanche over, obviously, everybody in Edmonton's going crazy. McDavid and Draisaitl and that group finally getting to the level they want. But just what are your overall thoughts of the Western Conference matchup between Colorado and Edmonton?
I definitely got to go in favor of the Avalanche. I feel like it's something that's been building for a little while. We've seen them make it to this stage several years in the last decade or so. And I think that this is just kind of the culmination of that. And I feel like they're going to be the ones to make it to the finals. Oilers, a great team, great history. But I think last night's game showed anything was that, and like you said, I don't agree that I don't think it was bad goaltending. I think that they were just on fire, and really it was back and forth. At 8-6 right there, it's not a huge deficit. So both teams were just really on fire. Exciting game to watch. I'm not a big hockey fan, and so this was actually a game that kind of held my interest. Huge soccer fan, so I was able to kind of translate some of the knowledge there. But I definitely want to go for the Avalanche and just kind of support one of our Sideline Sports on-air talent in Jordan Long, and he's a huge Avalanche fan. So go Avalanche.
Well, ever since Ray Bourque left Colorado, and I think John might know what I'm talking about, I want to punch. Like I said before, I told John this, if I ever met Ray Bourque, I wouldn't punch him, but I'd act like a 5-year-old and kick him in the shins because of what happened with the Devils. That being said, I'm with you, Megan, on that. Colorado and Edmonton. I mean, look, McDavid is awesome. Draisaitl's awesome, but Nathan McKinnon, for those that haven't seen him, I mean, is just absolutely awesome. And John, like I said, I mean, I never got to go to the playoffs this year, so hockey season's been over for me for a while. But what do you think of this matchup? I mean, do you think 8-6?
Hockey's been over for you for a couple years.
Oh, here he goes. A couple of years. No, but that being said, do you think that with this matchup, though, with that matchup, what do you think of?
Mike, you live alone. Who you shushing?
No, I'm at my friend's house. Actually, the dog was going to bark, so I don't want him to bark. No, but when you look at the matchup, though, I mean, with Draisaitl and McDavid, I mean, McKinnon, and I mean, McCarr defensively has put up so many points for Colorado. What kind of sticks out to you besides them about this awesome matchup?
Well, I mean, you guys said it wasn't bad goaltending. I have to disagree with that. If you let up 8 goals or you let up 6 goals, that's bad goaltending. You can't put that all on, well, that was a soft goal. That was a soft goal. No. If there's 14 goals in a game, bad goaltending did happen. And if you look at the save percentages, if somebody has a 760 save percentage, that's bad goaltending. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And Darcy Kemper got hurt for the Avalanche, which is a big thing nobody's really talking about, at least here on the show yet. That's big because that's their starting goaltender. He's not a great goaltender. If you remember him from Minnesota, he was pretty good, but he wasn't great. If you lose your starting goaltender in the conference finals, like if that guy doesn't come back, I just don't see how the Avalanche have any chance. Now the only chance they have is Smith is terrible. If you remember from Arizona, he had some pretty good years in Arizona, Mike. I know you remember because you live out there. He had some pretty good years, but he's fallen off, and he's not the same guy he once was when he was with the Coyotes. So the goaltending is just terrible in this series. And the advantage is Avalanche, but if Kemper doesn't come back, you're going to see a lot more games like this. But these guys need to have better goaltending when they get to the finals, because the goaltending on the Eastern Conference side, both goaltenders are fantastic. So that's what I take away is, I mean, the goaltending is just awful.
Oh, man. All right. Look, there's a lot more traffic in front of the net. I get what you're saying. Yes, those amount of goals, and Smith did get pulled.
You can't say it's all on soft
no, but he's
goals.
Traditionally had bad game ones. Again, not an excuse, just a fact. But I will say this: the more traffic you get, because if these goalies can make their eye on it, like you said, that's why the percentage
they're probably going to save it.
Yeah, that's why they're over 90%, like 925, 935. It's insane. I remember one year Marty Brodeur, I think, had like a 955, and I'm like, dude, that's just that. Like if they can.
He's also the greatest goaltender of all time.
Well, right, but just any goaltender at that level, if you don't get traffic in front of him, and these guys are getting bigger. So yes, I half agree. I know it's like a typical answer I give to Ray Lynn. I half agree with you, but I half don't, because these guys get in traffic. It's impossible to get your head around, and the deflections on the puck. That being said, though, you're right. 8-6, insane for conference finals. All right, we're going to step aside. We're going to take our first break. When we get back, though, we are going to get to the other side of the NHL playoffs and hit, yes, the Eastern Conference, where, God, I have to say this. The Rangers are in the Eastern Conference finals taking on Eric's Tampa Bay Lightning. So,
remember, Mike, this is the same team that never gave Henrik Lundqvist a championship. They ruined his career. So, thanks a lot, Rangers. You're terrible.
I love it.
If you have a business, company, or product, and you want to reach the right audience, contact DB&A Television. DB&A TV reaches over 100,000 viewers a month and has advertising plans for all budgets. You can see your ads running on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, On Demand, and dozens of other top platforms for only $1 a day. Call our advertising sales department between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, at 484-695-5187. That's 484-695-5187. Make the call and then watch the results. It pays to advertise on the DB&A Television Network.
All right, we are back here on the Sports Arena. You see her right there, the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price, John Shear. I'm Michael Caratanudo, Eric Wilson, of course, the maestro, who's a genius because I'm not smart enough to hit buttons, as we all know. But that being said, I am smart enough to talk a little hockey. Right now, we did talk the Western Conference, started to talk the Eastern Conference. Look, the Rangers are up 6-2 right now. Madison Square Garden, which, again, is a phenomenal place to go see a game. I can at least agree with our man Eric on that, because whether you're seeing the Knicks, the Rangers, or the Devils go in there and beat the Rangers, that's always great at MSG. But that being said, the Garden's got to be going nuts tonight. It is 6-2, and like John said, these two goaltenders have been out of their minds. So the fact that the Rangers, God, I feel like I'm throwing up when I say this, have 6 goals and are leading 6-2. John, I mean, I'll come right back to you. Like, they just got out of a 7-game series. Tampa had a little time off. I don't subscribe, because in hockey, I think a little bit of time definitely helps. But 6-2, I mean, come on, this is at least a little bit shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it's just game one, so I'm not going to overreact. It's just game one. They're at home. They're doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, if you're the team with home ice or home court, whatever sport you have, you're expected to win at least one of the games on your home court, home ice, whatever it is. So they're just doing what they have to do. So I take nothing from it. It's just game one. Like you guys say all the time, and it's true, series don't start until the road team wins a game. So I'm not going to overreact. I'm not a prisoner of the moment guy.
No, I mean, believe me, but from your point, it's tough it is always tough not to be a prisoner of the moment. But when you're getting goaltending like that, I mean, I know, and again, Tampa dropped their first game in the first round to, of course, the team I picked to win the cup this year, Toronto. Thought they finally had it all together, but they gave up 5 goals in that first game, and I think also gave up 5 in the third or fourth too to Toronto. So again, they can score, but Megan, to look at it from the other side, I mean, like John said, we're not going to overreact. But this sets a tempo. I mean, at least for the Rangers, I mean, this sets a huge tempo against 2-time defending world champion, like Eric used to say, intergalactic champions in the Lightning. So, I mean, it's a 7-game series, but how big is this for the Rangers to get off to this start?
I think it's huge. I feel like everything that I've heard or read from any of you guys about the Tampa Bay is that they were on course to three-peat. Like every single person that I've talked to has said that. Every piece of literature that I've read has said, hey, they're going to three-peat. And that this series was going to be a sweep and, catch them in the finals. And so, I think I agree. I think this sets a tone. This definitely gives the Rangers a chance. It's definitely, definitely not going to be a sweep in this series, because obviously they're going off. They're going to be able to take game one if it goes this way. Currently it's 6-2. There's still some time left. They still have a whole period left. So I think that we see this change the tone of things, and I think that this could possibly go 6 games. But I still got Tampa Bay coming out on top.
Look at you, Megan. Yeah, I mean, again, it is tough.
I don't know that much about hockey, y'all.
No, I know, but it's tough not, especially with the way they play. And I mean, believe me, watching them play Jersey quite a few times this year, and then just watching them play, especially as we got closer to the playoffs. I mean, their coach, he's just got the right tone and everything, the way he handles it. And I mean, it's a team. Look, they've been there. So yeah, to John's point, they're definitely not going to overreact losing 6-2. I mean, they're still fighting the last. I think there's 3 minutes, or there's like 5 minutes left in the game. So yeah, I mean,
the game's over. Yeah.
Oh, it's over. Okay, yeah. So then I knew there was under 3 minutes, but either way, I mean, Tampa, yeah, they're going to talk about it. They're going to probably look at it, digest it, and the Rangers are going to be in for definitely a crazy game in game 2. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see it go 7. And even though I would love to see it go 7 and just have Tampa Bay just break every single Rangers fan's heart. Just the fan of me talking, guys, not the analyst. Just break every single person's heart in the Garden and lose game 7. Like, I mean, but maybe with not even an overtime, like the goal Colorado got against St. Louis with 4.9 seconds left to go and it's tied, and the Lightning get a goal. I mean, oh my God, Megan, I'd have to join the sip off, because I would have already started drinking from 5 days before. But that being said, no, I mean, look, I think this series more so than the Western Conference one has much, and it's not an overreaction, John, has much more potential to go 7 because I think Colorado wins this in 5. I think Colorado wins in 5 or 6.
With all the talent that Edmonton has, there's no way that this series is. There's too much talent on Edmonton's side for this to go just 5. It's going at least 6, maybe 7, but 5. That's saying that Edmonton's no league of Colorado's, and I think that that's just not true. With how talented they are and with the lack of goaltending on both sides, I think that it's going to be a high-scoring series, and they're gonna go back and forth.
John. The talent on Colorado is just as equal. Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah, but you just said equal, so how can you say 5?
No,
it goes in 5.
But you're making it sound like it's so much of an advantage for Edmonton.
I didn't say advantage. I'm just talking about how it going 5 with how much talent both sides have and how bad the goaltending is going to be.
Because you proved my point before, the goaltending. I think
it's going to go 6 or 7.
I think the goaltending in the East is better. And if Mike Smith doesn't get out of his head, because you said.
But that has nothing to do with how far this series is going to go, Mike.
Yeah, it does, because he's going to let in goals that he shouldn't let in Colorado. Look, I say 5, 6 at the most, but I'd be very surprised. So we are definitely we'll get back to this. Believe me, we got time because the Stanley Cup Finals are going to be absolutely sick too. No matter who gets there. So to me, that's the absolute cool part of it. But all right, we're going to go to the WNBA, Megan.
Oh, maybe Eric can come and talk about how the Sky aren't leading the division and the Mystics are.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn.
Eric, where are you at?
Hey, squirrel.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Squirrel. They're blind squirrels right now. That's all I know. But Megan, put John in his place. It's still early. Yes, they're finding their division. Groove. It's not early too much. But what are your thoughts from some of the? We've seen some good matchups. I know we touched on a little bit last week, but even in this last week, we've seen some pretty good matchups overall in the W. Now, again, I'm not saying it's surprise. I'm saying it excitedly. But there's been some pretty good matchups.
There absolutely have been some good matchups. We saw the Liberty and the Storm play, and that was actually a close game, even though the Liberty is struggling. We saw the Aces and the Sky play this past Saturday. Aces came out on top. Becky Hammond just won Coach of the Month. She had a 9-1 start, which is a historical start for the WNBA. So big shout out to them over there in Vegas. And if you are not watching Asia Wilson play ball right now, you are missing out. She is the MVP from 2019. And they were the number 2 seed majority of the year last year. And then they made it to the semis last year. I think that Las Vegas actually looks better without Liz Cambage, and LA looks immensely better with Liz Cambage. So she looks like she's happy over there. So congratulations to her to getting to a situation where she enjoys playing ball. We can see that pretty smile that she has. And they destroyed my team last night. It was not fun to watch. In the very end, Enrique got a technical foul for kicking the commentator's desk. And then she faked a free throw. I don't think she faked the free throw. I think what happened was she didn't pull off at the right time. She saw some people jump in the lane before time, and she expected the call. The call didn't happen. You have to release. You have to do the shot, and then you complain about the no call.
So you can't balk. There's no such thing as a balk.
You can't balk.
No.
So you have to shoot the ball.
Do balks count in the WNBA? Is there such thing?
Well, you definitely get penalized for it.
Oh,
and
okay.
This is in the last couple of seconds. This is in the last couple of seconds, and those 2 shots would have made the difference because it was a 2-point deficit. So,
I was going to say, they didn't get destroyed, Megan. They didn't get destroyed.
Well, no, hold on. We got destroyed because we were down by so much, and then we fought to come back. Then we're in the very end. Destroyed, I mean emotionally. I was crying, dang near. It was and to say that we're not that far into the WNBA season, we're a third of the way through. And so I feel like this is just a good indicator to kind of look at your team and decide where you're at. Currently, the Wings are 5-4. Or we're almost a third of the way. We're 5-4, and we're third in the Western Conference, and I think we're 6th or 7th in overall. So I think right now is a good indicator to let you know where you're at. What do you need? Obviously, the Mystics are doing amazing, John. Congratulations!
Best defense in the league right now.
Absolutely, and then. On the other side of things, Mike, what is going on with Skylar Diggins-Smith and DT.
Look, I didn't want
second
to
worst record in the league.
All I'm going to say is congratulations.
Not worse.
Second worst record in the league. Mercury.
Yeah, they're 2-7 right now, and yes, I know I didn't want to start this segment with it because it's a regular season game, but somehow the Mercury only have an 11-point fourth quarter. Nice home court calls for Chicago as usual. I'm sure Eric had a little juju with that, but hey, they won. There's no excuses, and yes, that little tiff between DT and Skylar again, and they're both very. I mean, we know how people can say they're competitive, and yeah, they're headstrong. They're where they're at for a reason. And last year, again, it worked very well. I mean, I think that they've had a time finding their groove. I mean, to overstate the obvious, just watching them play, like there is some, and challenge shots are one thing, as both of you know. But last night against Chicago, even in that first quarter, I think they only scored 10. It was terrible first quarter. They missed so many open. I'm not going to say threes, but like just mid-range shots, and they're wide open, and I'm pulling my hair out, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But yeah, that tiff. I mean, I think with the lesser experienced team, that tiff would kind of bother me. And if they were two young players that couldn't figure it out, then I think it'd be even worse. But I really do think, and again, I mean, we've talked about Free and BG, and it's been 105 days now that she's been held over in Russia, and it's I think missing her kind of that voice too of leadership. And
I think one of the major problems when you say leadership right there, I think one of the major problems is that you guys rushed into your head coaching decision because it was like a couple of days away and the draft was about to happen, and you guys hired Vanessa Nygaard. And not that I don't like Vanessa Nygaard. I think that she may not. I think it was a rushed decision. You guys were waiting on Teresa Witherspoon, and then she pulled out of the running. And why, I don't know. Nobody knows, but I think that probably would have been the right choice for you guys.
I don't disagree, but I don't think they rushed to it either. I mean, I do think with the draft, yes, I 100% see that view of it with you, but I think Nygaard's a great choice. I mean, just listening on a lot of the Zooms, and I mean, she gets it. She knows she can push them, and now they just have to come together. And a 2-7 is not a good start. I will just have to remind.
I don't know if I see her pushing them. This is somebody that I'm.
But I
don't know. It just
all I'm
feels
saying
like
is Chicago was 500 last year, and Eric's team won a title, so we all know it can be done. So I'm just saying it's going to be tough.
But it's definitely a situation where you need leadership when you have a fight, when you have a disagreement between your franchise player and possibly most people's GOAT. And then, but also your starting guard, who has a very strong personality as well, and she's needed badly, especially in the absence of your center being gone and wrongly detained. So, this is a situation where if you had an experienced leader, maybe these two wouldn't be blowing up at each other, because have we seen Skylar play since this happened? One game. We've seen her play one game since this happened.
And they got rid of their experienced leader, didn't they?
Yeah, she's in New York struggling.
Hey, look, either way, you can talk your trash. Your team's up top right now.
But with all the talent you have, there's no reason for you to be. You're right.
This far it is frustrating, and it is frustrating to be. I agree. 2-7.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like that, because, if we go back to the Showtime Lakers, if they didn't have Kareem, what do you think would have been the case? Were there some games that they won? Obviously, when he was injured, there were some games that they won. But what would they have been if Kareem hadn't been there? And so I think that shows the importance that BG is to that team as well. But once again, I don't think that's necessarily just her presence on the court. I think that's that leadership that's missing. And BG does have some leadership roles.
Yeah, apparently Teresi doesn't.
Eric, there he is. What's up, buddy?
Chicago Sky time, huh?
Okay. Sky champions.
I'm trying to evolve as an individual and not just be the guy on the camera. But see, everybody wants to start talking about my team, thinking that I'm just not going to show up. I mean,
props.
Y'all have to know that when you talk about the reigning, defending, undisputed 2021 WNBA World Champion Chicago Sky, my name follows that, people. Okay, so let's get down to business. First off, good evening to everybody. I'm going to borrow the Queen of Hoops for a minute because her and I need to have a conversation. Listen, I said to you before the season started, I said, Megan, congratulations on averaging 89, 91, whatever points you were doing. I said,
Yeah.
but I want y'all to keep that same energy. Now, we are
Right.
8, 9, 10 games into the season. So we're about a third of the way through. You're absolutely right.
Right.
What's Dallas been averaging? Don't worry, I'll wait. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure.
Not 91.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Not 91. So
not
and
91. Well, we put up 91 points last night. Still
okay.
lost.
Yes, but you realize the level of talent that you were playing against. And you and I both know this very well. There are women not playing in the WNBA who should be playing in the W right now. We
Right,
both
absolutely.
know that. But for Arike, and I applaud her talent, I respect what she's done, but Arike knows better. And we're
I'm
talking,
so glad you took it here. I got a rebuttal for this. I'm so
and
glad you took it here.
well, you knew I was going to lay one up for you because that's what I do here on the
okay.
sports arena. But Megan, you know as well as I do, because you talked about the leadership with regards to Brittany Griner. And yes, free BG. We're over 100 days. This is ridiculous. This is asinine. That young woman needs to come home. Arike is the driving force on this team, which means she has set herself apart from the other players on that team. Vicki Johnson believes in the success of Arike. Okay.
Mhm.
So in moments where I get it, emotions run high, and I understand that things are going to happen. You have to, as best as possible, as a leader, you have to maintain some level of composure.
Okay, yeah, but is she? Let me ask you this: is she a whole person? Does she have emotions?
She does.
I mean,
She
okay,
does.
is she any different than a man that shows emotions anywhere else? That bang their rackets on the ground, and then Serena gets criticized for the same thing, but men do it and they're applauded. So men are allowed to have emotions in the middle of their sport and what they dedicate themselves to. But personally, I always say this: I want an emotional player because then that shows me that they care about it just as much as I care about it. Cam, for example, after the Super Bowl loss, when he didn't want to talk to the media, it didn't bother me because to me it showed how much he cared about that situation. I didn't want him to be complacent with losing. Do I think Arike was right? No, but I absolutely do. I have no problem with her showing emotion. And on every single one of these platforms and every single one of these sports, it seems like women get criticized for showing that maybe the same amount or even less emotion than a man. But then, not saying men are applauded for it, but women aren't given that second chance to continue on. Is something that's always brought up. Like, hey, remember on May 7th when you broke a racket? Like it's a month later. And these commentators keep not necessarily perpetuating. They keep perpetuating it so much more. And is this something that they do in other areas? Is it just because women should be happy and just be happy to be an athlete and be on that platform, so then they're not allowed to have a voice?
I'm not, Megan, you and I are looking at it from two different lenses, and I will never see it through your lens. Okay. But this is where I come from with regard to this exact situation. You are an athlete. I don't care if you're black, white, male, female. I don't care anything about that. You're an athlete. You are paid to do a job just like everybody else is. Now, you get paid very well, even though the WNBA women need to get paid a hell of a lot more than what they are currently making. But what I'm saying to you is, under the lights, you have to know that as an athlete, you are going to be scrutinized and crucified more than so many other people. Megan, if you go to your job and you show emotion because you are passionate about what you believe in, people are going to see it as one of two ways. They're going to see it as, wow, this woman really cares about what she does, and maybe we should listen to her. Or they're going to say, oh, she's just some other woman blabbing like all women do. That's how, unfortunately. But the same thing can be said for me, being who I am. When I present a situation to somebody, I can be viewed as, wow, he actually cares about the success of our business, or he's just another angry black man. Right. But when you're an athlete, it is such a higher degree that you must hold yourself to. So across the board, I don't care if you're LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, or you're Candace Parker, Liz Cambage, Asia Wilson, or Arike and Google. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Thank you. that comes with being an athlete.
Keep that
And
same
that is
energy
where I
every
am.
single time. Every
I
single
do.
time you see a no, I'm not just saying you. I'm saying everybody else. Like
Well,
y'all keep
everybody
that
else ain't
same
gonna do it
energy
like
when
me.
you see a ball player. When you see a ball player take the court, doesn't matter the gender, it doesn't matter the race. When you see a ball player take the court, make sure you keep that same energy.
And Megan, I'm gonna tell you, you already know I will, because I've done it. I've called out different players in the NBA and the NFL, and even when Jose Bautista flipped the bat during the playoffs, and people were going up in arms about it. I was the same way. I was like, what was it? What was the point in that? I understand the emotion behind it as someone who has played these sports, but at the same time, the actions that these athletes do are going to have much more consequences.
Oh, for sure. And she's gonna get fined. I've seen some posts already talking about, she's gonna get suspended. I don't think that's gonna be the case. And I actually really believe in our president and our owner. I think Greg Bibb loves Enrique, and I think he's gonna stand behind her. I think he's gonna feel like the same way that I do. Like, I want to see an emotional player because we just paid her max money. I want her to be emotional about losing. So do I think it was right? Do I think her actions were right? No, I think she's criticized too harshly because she's a woman. And I feel like, even Steph Curry threw his mouthpiece one time. Nobody was throwing a fit about that, were they?
Again, in the climate that we live in, throwing mouthpieces it's just something that should be fine for that. So I'm through. I'm not through, but I'm done with you temporarily. Hey, Mike.
I'm not.
Hey, Mike. Let me just say this really quick, bro. I was expecting a lot more from your team last night, but what I saw was a hunger for a W. Unfortunately, Chicago was able to pull it down. Now, listen, when you don't have a BG, that plays a role. When DT gets ejected, that plays a role. So who does it fall on? It falls on a Skylar Diggins-Smith. It falls on a Sophie Cunningham to be able to carry the load of this team. I feel they did the best that they did. And for a moment, it appeared as though they had Chicago's number. However, in the fourth quarter, it was just sloop. There it is, time. And she just kind of took over.
Yeah, so, I know. I watched the game. You don't have to rehash the vomit for me.
Okay.
Yes. No, I was there. It was good.
And to Mr. John Shear, the man directly underneath me, John,
yes,
I respect the fact that you're 7-3. Okay, you are second in the league right now. I get
best defense in the league.
That's fine, John. That is perfectly
number
fine.
one?
But please understand.
Yeah, they are not the number one defense.
But please understand.
No, I'm saying
my
who's
brother.
number one in the league.
Number one is the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah,
and that
nobody's
is
even close to them.
That is
by the way,
to
answer your question,
Becky Hammond.
Answer your question earlier. You said how much are the Wings scoring? They have the same exact amount per game as the Sky do right now.
No. Is that number 91?
I love that you pointed that out, John. I love
81.6. Both of you are tied.
Okay.
For what? What's the number?
81.6. Both of you.
But it's not 91.
But you're tied. You're tied with Megan, so you can't run your mouth.
Yes, I can because
you're tied with her.
Yes, John. Listen. Close your lips and listen up. Okay. Hear me when I say this. During the preseason, this woman right here, our queen of hoops, was talking about the fact that her Dallas Wings were averaging 90-some points in the preseason. And I said very clearly, keep that same energy because I want to see y'all consistently put up that number of points.
No, and
the only one doing that's the Aces.
I'm not backpedaling. I'm not backpedaling because I agree. I want to see us do that same thing. We're sitting at 5-4 right now. I am not satisfied. There is work to be done.
Listen, absolutely. I'm sitting at 5-3 and I'm no better. So we in the same boat. The only difference is
7-3 and our offense is not very good. It's only
we're 2-7 and we're winning the title. So that's all I'm going to say to this. I'm putting a pin in this.
Okay.
Putting a pin in it. That I get the last word, and that's that. We're going to win a title somehow. BG's going to come back, and that's going to be that. She needs to come back, not just for the title, but she needs to be back. But we're going to step aside, and when we get back, we're going to find out why Megan Price is not part of the $3.2 billion group. That's what I want to know. We are back here on the Sports Arena Wednesday night. So glad you could join us. We're here every Monday and Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, sportsarena1.com. So you have it all there on the bottom of the screen. Join us. Let's get the crew back in. Megan, John. Well, Megan, yes. Actually, John, we love you, but Megan and I are going to take this real quick. So Chelsea, the sale, everybody, again, we don't have to get into the details or Russian ties, guys forced to sell. People can read that back part. But the most a franchise has ever sold for $3.2 billion. Now, it's an EPL team, English Premier League, for those that don't know the lingo. But as you and I know, like, no shock because the ownership group will make that back probably in about 4 years, I would say. They probably make their buy-in back in 4 years. Depending. And Chelsea, okay, let's start with this first. Let's keep it focused. $3.2 billion. Does that surprise you?
No, I feel like this is a franchise that has been in the top four for, respectively 7 to 5 years. I feel like, they're a good team. They have some good pieces. There is work to be done. Like I said in the last segment, there's still work to be done, especially this season. This season didn't go as expected for them, but I think that this season was tough on everybody in the Premier League. There were a ton of COVID games, several outbreaks over this last season. So, we're talking about a season that goes, 38 weeks? Is that right? 38 weeks. Mm-hmm. So, it's a very long season. And there were several games that just you weren't able to make up with it or make up the games. So, I think each team struggled and in their own way. So I'm not surprised by this price, though. I think this is a team that definitely is worth that, or there's potential for it to be worth that.
Well, right. And then you kind of led to my next thing. Like it seems like a down year for them. And when you look at the points, they were 21 points out of winning the league. But with all this turmoil, Megan, they still qualified for Champions League and they finished third. Right. So you now inherit a team, like you said, and what we both know, has some talent. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Now that they actually have an ownership group, it's going to be very interesting to see some of their, obviously, their summer moves, their off-season moves.
Right. I definitely think we're going to see probably at least 3 big pieces that they add to their roster. I think that's going to be pretty obvious. And as you talked about right there, whereas Chelsea is a team that has a ton of potential and has been there in recent years. So it's not like it's a team that you're taking over and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to do a complete overhaul here. This is what I like to call a retool, not a rebuild. And it's not like they're buying a small club, because my particular team is Tottenham. We're a small club. It's been decades since we've seen a piece of silver. So, whereas we finished 4th, that's the type of season we had. We finished 4th. We were right below them. We're going to the Champions League as well. But, it's not the same thing. It's a much bigger club, and there's a much more opportunities for them to make that money back.
Yeah, they finished 3rd, like I said. Man City, you and I were messaging. It's so annoying. They get like 3 goals in like the final 35 minutes. Or no, they get 3 goals in the final 15 minutes, basically, maybe 20. And they beat Liverpool, who I did want to win this year by 1 point, 93-92. But then there's Chelsea. It was Liverpool and Man City pretty much the whole second half of the table of the season, as we know. But Chelsea was 74. So, yeah, I'll wrap it up with this. We'll get John back in here. But $3.2 billion, again, they were talking. It could have went. They were trying to outbid each other. Could have went up over 4 or 5. Those clubs like that. It's awesome for the sport. Again, we're not going to get into
to kind of explain it as far as like some of these London teams like that, because I have a friend that's from Croatia and he's a huge soccer fan. Tottenham is one neighborhood. You're not going to find those fans anywhere else in the city. It's in that small area. The rest of the city, you're going to find Arsenal fans. You're going to find Chelsea fans. You're going to find Liverpool fans. They're all going to be sprinkled around. Tottenham fans are only in this one neighborhood, and everybody hates them.
Oh, she's playing the victim. I love it.
It's not a victim. We're going to Champions League. There's no victims over here.
Exactly. So they can't hate you too much. There's support there. Right. No, but the $3.2 billion is awesome. I'll just wrap it up on this saying that it is absolutely insane. If somebody Man United or Man City, or even going to Real Madrid or Barcelona, those teams could literally go for over $5 billion. That's the madness to me. But that is done. The World Cup is coming. I hope the U.S. does well. I'm not even going to say who's not there because it's 2 in a row and my family's not happy. Anyway, we're gonna hit Major League Baseball though, because we are 50
Before we
games.
go, Mike, can I say one thing?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, yeah.
You almost got to wrap it up, B. You almost got one. You were close.
I just wanted to say one thing really quick. So, I want to transition back to WNBA really
WWE.
fast and say, in the fourth quarter, the Phoenix Mercury scored 11 points.
I said that.
And the best point guard in the WNBA, Courtney Vandersloot, scored 12. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, thank you. You can go to baseball now.
Yes, I wanted to stay away from that too because I said they scored 11. I didn't want to mention that. Yes, Miss Vandersloot, who's phenomenal, scored 12. Yes, it was a terrible fourth quarter.
The greatest point guard
Make sure you chime in on my post on
WNBA.
Twitter. Make sure you chime in on my post on Twitter. I asked everybody who do they think has the best handles in the WNBA, past or present.
Courtney Vandersloot.
All right, get him out of here. Get him out of here. This guy. You're in timeout.
She's on the list.
Yeah, well, okay. Anyway, Dom loves you, Megan, but never come back with just me. That's funny, Dom, because you like Detroit, so you need a paper bag over your head. But anyway, we move on. So baseball, 50 games in. The Mets, I mean, a little bit shocking right now, I think, for people. The Yankees in first place.
They're maintaining.
The Astros, but let's start with the National League. When I look at the National League, to me, I mean, yes, the Mets I think they're like 9-0 on games like that they've scored 5 runs or more, whatever. They have some. They're 35-17. Last year's World Series champs. Behind them in the East, 24-27. Milwaukee's up in the Central. Oh, weird. Hey guys, here's a weird fact. I'm glad you're sitting down. St. Louis is hanging around in second place. They're just hanging right now. And then of course the Dodgers 33-16 and the Padres 30-20. National League. But besides those teams, I mean, do we expect a run from Atlanta, Philly? I know I said St. Louis, Cincinnati has no chance, but I mean, do the Cubs, do the Giants, do the Padres? What are your guys' thoughts on John? What's your thoughts on the National League?
So, I mean, when it comes to the Mets, I mean, this is typical of the Mets. You get all hyped up. You get all excited as a fan. I'm not a fan, but you get all excited as a Mets fan. And then guess what they're going to do? They're going to do what the Mets always do. They're going to let you down. They're going to melt down. As soon as you get your hopes up, they're going to rip that right out of you, rip your heart right out of you. That's what Mets do. So I'm not even going to mention. I mean, the NL East is like this is like the NFC East. I mean, there's a reason why. There's a reason why they're the same type of division. Like it's the NFC East, National League.
Just let him blab. I mean, like he's wearing a Dolphin shirt. Maybe
took him off.
But okay. What do you see from the National League?
I brought up last time we talked about this. I brought up the Brewers, and I still want to talk about them. They're sitting at the top of the NL Central. They're 32-19. Then you go over to the NL West. You got the Dodgers who are 33-16. You got the Padres who are 30-20, and then also you got the Cardinals who are 29-12 back at the NL Central. So you got 4 teams with almost the exact same record. So I think the race over in the National League is actually pretty tight. John went over to YouTube to comment. Said you can't put them off the screen. I think the Brewers are an incredibly scrappy team. I think they're an excellent defensive team. And I've enjoyed watching them play all season. So one team that I enjoyed watching that's not my team.
Oh, wow. Raylan, the Mets are the Chris Paul of the MLB, right? Because, wait, hold on. John, before we switch to the American League, all I want to know is, let's see. The Detroit Tigers have one of the greatest players ever, and they're 10 games under 500. So, yeah, let's go Detroit. Anyway, my thing in the National League, I'm kind of with that. John, I don't know, man. I like the Mets pitching staff. Can they hold up? I mean, you bring up a great point because the last 3 years, even when they've had their full pitching staff, they've kind of went down the stretch and they've hobbled in. I'll say 2 years and then even the year before the whole mess up with COVID. But when there's been full seasons, you're right. The Mets have definitely hobbled to the finish line. So I don't know. I'd like to see the Mets keep it up. I think it'd be entertaining for the Mets to do it. Although the Dodgers are the Dodgers, that's that. All right, real quick, American League, John. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to tell me how your Orioles. And I'm not picking on you, saying how are your Orioles going to improve and get out of the basement?
Actually, the Orioles have been playing pretty well. They're 22-30, and for a team that's in a rebuild, that wasn't given any chance. They're actually playing pretty well. They took a series from the Rays, took a series from the Yankees, took a series from the Red Sox, 3 out of 5 from the Red Sox. So, like, they just went through the Rays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox back to back to back, and they got through all of that with a better record. They improved their record through playing those 3 teams. Like, the Orioles are on the come up. Like, in the next couple of years, they're going to be a really, really good team.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like it. Megan, you get 30 seconds on the American League. How are your Rangers? I shouldn't even say American League. How are your Rangers?
Okay. I almost wore a Texas Ranger shirt tonight because we finally made it to 500. I know that seems like a moral victory. I'm just happy that my team got some wins. We had such a rough start. We are currently tied with the Rays 2-2 right now at the end of the 8th. We've been in this series with them. We're up 2 games right now. We play their one more game tomorrow, and then we have a series with the Mariners coming up. But to quote Sam Malone, nobody goes to Seattle for baseball. So I think the Rangers are going to do pretty well. We are 2 games behind the Angels, and then obviously the Astros go back to the National League, are leading our division. I would love for them to go back to the National League. Forget them. All
right, that would be cool. All right, my 30 seconds real quick on the American League. I would love to see the Angels again, not having a team, but I would love to see the Angels. I love what Ohtani's done. If Mike Trout can actually finally stay healthy, I think we get to see it. Plus, he's a Philly guy, so we all know that Eric, will always root for Mike Trout unless he's playing the Phillies. So, I mean, it pains me to say that, but yeah, Mike Trout, that's his neighborhood and stuff like that. So, I would love to see the Angels do it. I love what Ohtani's done. They're just behind the Astros right now. I know they've dropped a few, but the American League is about the Angels, and just don't let the Yankees win another World Series. That's all I got. That's what I got. Interesting. Well, it's been a fun Wednesday night. That's all I know. It's been a very fun Wednesday night. Definitely want to give a shout out to everybody at Sideline Sports. It was so awesome. I got to give a shout out to my Lady Sun Devils. No, they didn't go to the World Series. They lost to Northwestern in 3. One of the best pitchers in the country. They did manage to hit 7 home runs off of. But everybody retweeting Super Regionals were awesome. The Women's College World Series starts tomorrow.
UT ladies in there.
I just can't believe Megan got away with that Cam Newton comment and nobody addressed it. Like, we just left it on the table. Nobody addressed it.
It's fine because I agree with Megan. We don't need to hear from the losing team.
About him in the Super Bowl.
We don't need to hear from the losing team. We don't need to hear from it.
I agree. I do not want
and all of a
somebody
sudden,
who is
now the losing team has to talk. It's boring. But on that note, hey, the Dolphins will be talking a lot this year after they lose. For Megan, for John, for Eric, the man behind the scenes, the ones and twos, for Raylan, who was picking on me, and Dom, who wasn't here. I'm Michael Caratuno. We will see you Monday. Everybody have a great week. Sports Arena is out.